Welcome, kayak anglers. You are tuning into the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, kayak fishing's best network of shows with great hosts covering all things kayak fishing, bringing you special guests covering topics such as shore fishing, river trips, gear reviews, angler profiles, tournament news, and more. Sit back, relax. Let's do this.
Chasing the 20-inchers Susquehanna River podcast is proudly partnered with these great companies. Railblazer, think outside the tackle box. The Chegan brand, official brand for smallmouth bass. Kayak cushion for them long days on the water. Ken's Jigs, need a custom jig? Don't look any further. Thanks for watching, and welcome to the show. Could this be the 20? I don't know.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back.
What's going on, Sean?
Not much, man.
Welcome, everybody, to Chasing the 20-inchers Susquehanna River podcast. Sean, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What's up with this wind this year, man?
Oh my gosh. Carlisle and I hit the river yesterday at West Fairview, and I was trying out my new kayak, which happens to be an inflatable. I really had I'm still rigging it and getting used to it. And I probably should not have picked yesterday to be my maiden voyage because I got blown from one side of the river to the other, all over the place, man. I could not control myself hardly at all. So that was frustrating, but we still managed you had some nice fish.
Yeah, I caught some decent fish. I was struggling with the wind too, but I don't think I was struggling as bad as you were. But I mean, new kayak, you know, you got to feel it out. And
I was just learning. That was my first ever experience with foot control steering, so that was new. And I should have had some way to anchor because that would have saved me so much frustration. I just could not maintain position at all to save my life. Every time I'd get straight, the wind would blow and just push me right off, and I'd have to do like a loop or a circle to get back where I wanted to fish. And we knew right where they were, but man, I had so much trouble just lining up to hit them. So
yeah, it was a weird day. They didn't want to chase anything. They just wanted something on the bottom. I mean, maybe they were on beds. We couldn't see beds, but they just wanted something on the bottom. And Sean figured it out with the first fish that he caught yesterday, and he told me, "Hey, I caught it on a Ned rig," and I was throwing some swim baits here and there as we were getting to the spot where we wanted to fish, and they just didn't want anything moving. They just wanted something subtle. And I don't know if that has to do with the wind and what was going on or with the spawn or whatever it was, but we landed on a few nice ones. Sean caught five or six fish, and I caught 5, and I think the biggest was 18, and really nice fish. It was fun. It was frustrating but fun.
Tiny little dinks, but then I found a nice like 16 and a half, and I think the other the two I caught kind of in the area where Carlisle was catching them were half decent, not no 18s like he caught, but still, you know, nice fish. So
yeah, BC fishing wind has been bad these weekends. Yes, it has. That's what we're talking about. It's like the week is so beautiful. We're all at work, and then we got Saturday and Sunday off, and we got to deal with 30+ mile an hour wind gusts. So. Yeah, crawls and bronco bugs, he says.
There you go.
Nice. All right, well, we're going to get into the river levels real quick. The river levels, guys, are brought to you by Railblazer. Think outside the tackle box. So we'll start off with Harrisburg. Harrisburg sitting at 4.56 feet.
Although I was surprised how low the Cana de Gwinnett was already. Like, just above the bridges there at the mouth, it was pretty shallow.
Yeah. I wanted to get up there this year to get, launch from right at the bridges there and go up, but the 2 times I was there this year, it was too low for me to get up. I had to get out of my kayak and pull my kayak up pretty good ways. And I haven't seen any even jet boats go up there when I was there. So it's super low right now up there. Next is the West Branch, Lewisburg. They got a serious jump, 5.11 feet. And just yesterday, they were sitting at 3.5. So
hopefully you guys could fish that rise, because that was probably some good fishing.
Absolutely. They must have got a ton of rain out west.
That means it's coming here.
Yeah.
Eventually.
All right. And then we'll go to Towanda, the North Branch, and they got a serious jump too. They were sitting down in about 2 foot, and now they're up at almost 3. And that for up there, that's a big jump, because they're normally sitting around 1. And then you want to do the last one, Sean, the Marietta?
Yeah, so there we have Marietta. It's actually going down. So I imagine with the way the upper river is trending, this will probably be making a jump when that makes its way down here too. But for right now, it's dropped back down to kind of normal levels. I wouldn't say it's low, but it's about normal for where it is this time of year. So looks pretty even for down here in Marietta.
Yeah. So there you have it. The river levels for the Susquehanna River, brought to you by Railblazer. Think outside the tackle box.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, I put a post out for some of our viewers to send in their recent photos of their smallmouth from the Susquehanna River. And we'll start it off with Alex Goby.
That looks like a nice one.
Beautiful fish.
Next up, we have Bill Parker, another very long smallie. He's not even long arming that. You can tell he's got that close to him. So that's a nice fish.
That's a beautiful fish. All right. Next up, we have Brooke Williams
with a catfish.
That's not a smallmouth.
Catfish gotta, you gotta love the occasional catfish.
Yeah.
All right. And next up, we have Carlisle with his big catch from this weekend.
There we go.
I had to get over there quick when he caught that one, because he's like, man, this one's huge. This might be the 20. So I burned my way over there.
What happened was when I seen that thing jump, I seen how wide it was, and I was like, oh my gosh, this got to be a 20-incher. But 17 and a half, I'll take it.
The search continues.
Yep, the search continues. Next up, we have John Duvall.
Another nice smallie. Thanks,
Yes,
John.
sir.
Next up, we have our good buddy Larry Okonski. He's on him again, as usual. Nice catch there, bud.
Nice one, Larry. Next up, we have Scotty Hepner with a green one. That's a tank.
That is a big one. Look at the belly on that thing.
Jeez, I wonder where he caught that at.
Yeah, they're out there on the Susky. There's definitely places where you're more likely to catch a largemouth than a smallmouth, but definitely not in the stretches that we fish regularly. But yeah. Then we have another one from TJ Poole, a regular contributor. TJ is holding a nice one there. So nice fish, TJ. Thanks for sending it in.
Yeah, nice fish, TJ. Thanks for sending that in. Next up, we have our very own Sean Lavery.
And I was cheating a little bit there, guys. I was wade fishing for that one, but definitely. And I hate it when I don't have a measuring board on me. On my rod, I think that was close to a 20. So I always hate it, and that's why I hate not having my measuring board with me. But when I was wading, I was like, I'm not carrying that with me, and then I regretted it. But
well, Sean, I hope when I catch my first 20, I have my measuring board.
I hope so too. I have already tracked down another boater to get a fish measured on the Susquehanna when I wasn't sure. I was in Wrightsville one time and caught what I thought was a 20, and I didn't have my board with me. So there was a bass boat there fishing too, and I pedaled over to him and I was like, hey man, do you happen to have a measuring board? I got this big fish here. Ended up being like 19 3/4, but I wanted to make sure, before I let it go. So
All right. Well, we are gonna do a giveaway tonight. What you guys got to do is comment on the live stream. Just put your name in the comments, and at the end of the show, we'll do our drawing.
hey,
So
we got
all you have-
Armando listening here. We got to say a quick hello to him. Armando, was one of my co-hosts on Paddle and Fin, and awesome to have him tuning in. So nice to talk to you, Armando. Hope all is well with you, bud.
Yeah, so all you have to do is put your name in the comments, and at the end of the show, we will draw a lucky winner, and the winner will receive one of the Railblazer rod holders with the base. And what else do we got, Sean? A clear port. We're gonna give away the clear port and the rod holder. So
nice.
All you gotta do is put your name in the comments, and we will draw a lucky winner at the end of the show.
Yep.
All right, Sean. So you want to bring in our guest this week? Bring
Absolutely.
him in. We're going to talk about chatterbait fishing on the Susquehanna.
So everybody, I'd like to, take a moment and welcome Ethan Jett to the Chasing the 20 Interest podcast. So Ethan and I go back to my noob show days. I had him on there and kind of got to know him that way. He actually lives real close to my old co-host, Ryan Milford. So Ryan was the first one to introduce me to Ethan. But then Ethan came and visited me here in Pennsylvania. He stayed at my place while he fished the Hobie event 2 years back. And so I've known Ethan for a while, got to fish with him. And so welcome, Ethan.
What's up, y'all?
Yo, what's up, Ethan? Welcome to the show.
Or I should say you all, since
Y'all.
I'm Southern from Tennessee, which it's actually kind of funny. I did not realize until I went up there to fish the Susky. Where I live is Lewisburg, Tennessee.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can just say you're from Lewisburg.
Yeah.
And people around here be like, oh, he's a hammer.
Yeah.
He's a hammer. But yeah, Ethan, why don't you kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do for a living, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm Ethan Jett. Like I said previously, I'm from Lewisburg, Tennessee. We're a very small town in southern Middle Tennessee. It's a fun. We got some awesome lakes. If you're familiar with the Duck River, it's the second most biodiverse river in the world, and it's about 10 minutes from my house. It's a really cool place, but I travel all over the country fishing. I have a Pro Angler 14 that I take over, or it's a 360. I take it all over. Just got back from Lake Fork fishing the Bassmaster Championship. It should be called the Classic, but we can save that for another day.
Yeah.
But I'm just living the dream. I got a YouTube channel, Jett's Fishing Adventure. If you haven't followed, go ahead and hit that follow button there. But just trying to live the dream, really.
Nice.
And how has your tournament success been doing? I know, you had a pretty good run there of some pretty high finishes.
Well, 2023 was probably my best year, but we've been kind of struggling since then a little bit. I am the past Tennessee State champion, which is kind of funny. It was on Gunnersville, so it wasn't even in Tennessee, but I won in, and then I've finished top 10 in a few of the big national level tournaments, and this year's been a little struggle just because I'm not a deep water and cold water fisherman. I love shallow, rocky lakes, rivers, grass. I love some grass. So kind of starting now till the winter, I'll start doing a lot better, hopefully.
Once they get into your wheelhouse a little bit, do you like a lot of those deep river fisheries? Are they like, is that a lot of like live scoping and that kind of stuff that you're seeing people do? Okay.
Yeah. If you're not scoping, you're hoping.
So yeah, I mean that would be totally out of my wheelhouse too, and definitely got to be a little weird when that's not your comfort zone and everybody else is doing it. Have you jumped into that game? Are you learning that at all? Or are you still?
I had it when they first came out.
Okay.
And when I told myself I'd much rather have a motor on my kayak, so I sold the live scope and bought a Newport.
Okay.
And I just haven't had the money to go back and buy the live scope again. So
yeah, I think if you can perfect your craft without it, then when you do add it in, you're just going to be, a super threat,
Yeah. And that's kind of my game plan.
Gotcha. No, I'm in the same boat. I just kind of, I jumped into the motor game, I guess, maybe a year and a half ago, and just upgraded, to the NKD 180 Pro. So still learning that, but I think Carlisle jumped into the forward facing game just a bit ago, and he's learning that. Yeah. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's a learning experience for sure. I like it to find stuff for the most part. Like I'm not trying to bounce my jig off fish's noses or anything like that. I'm not to that point yet, but I do see fish swimming around, but I'm basically using it to find structure.
Yeah. And that's if you follow Ben Milliken, I know he's a very controversial fisherman right now.
Yes, he is.
But that's what he talks about, is going up, pulling up to brush piles, throwing a big glide bait over it. They don't have to hit it, but the fish will come out of it and look, and then that you can mark it.
Then
yep. There's fish there. You need to go in there and drag a jig or whatever, a chatterbait.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there was probably 2 times since I've been using it that I've seen fish following my bait. And I mean, I don't have the whole like $3,000 system. I have the Eagle Eye, so it's not the full system, but it works just like the full system. It's just a little different. You don't get to see everything.
Yeah, you don't really. Nobody needs to be able to see a fish 100 yards out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but we could sit here and talk about it for probably hours.
Yeah, it's probably the most controversial subject in fishing right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it. Yeah. But it was. You mentioned a chatterbait that you have used that with it, and so that's a good segue. We really wanted to talk tonight about fishing the chatterbait, and I've had luck on it. There's been times, especially when it's cold or just starting to get warm, where that I've crushed on it, and of the few 20s that I do have, probably 2 of the 5 are at least came on a chatterbait that I know of, if I'm trying to remember correctly. So it definitely catches big fish, and I seem to, once I get them on the chatterbait, they don't come off. So I really like it.
But that's a very good. A lot of people struggle with a chatterbait having fish jump it because it's such a big hook. But I was going to dive deep into my setups.
Yep, I was going to say that makes a huge difference. I found that out because when I first started throwing it, I was not throwing it on what I throw it on now. So I'm kind of interested to see how yours matches up.
Yeah. Why don't we get into that? Why don't we dive right into that? What is your setups for the chatterbait?
So the nice thing about a chatterbait, you can throw it on about any rod you really wanted to, but to be the most efficient and not lose fish, you really want a rod in that 7'2" to 7'5". You want the backbone, you want a medium heavy, but that tip needs to be soft. I throw it's called it's right here, a little Miami Outfitters. It's a 7'3", but if you watch, I should already have this ready. If you look, this tip is a real good tip, but then the backbone is straight backbone.
Okay.
So what that lets you do is when you're fishing and you feel the bite, that when you feel that bite, that fish already has it. And the bad thing about a chatterbait, if the fish don't have it all the way, that big blade right here, it'll pop open the fish's mouth when you set the hook. And if you don't have that backbone, you're not going to get that big hook penetrated. So it's kind of a give or take. You want a soft rod to be able to not feel the bite instantly and jerk it out of its mouth, but then also you want a heavy enough rod to get that big hook penetrated. And then once you're fighting that fish, you don't want a real heavy rod to where that big hook can go jumping out of its mouth. So it is a very finessey and power. It's everything combined into
perfect
one
combination, right?
Yeah.
So
And,
is that you should almost have 2 or 3 rods, I would think, for chatterbaits, because you want, if you're fishing grass, you want something strong enough that you're going to be ripping it through the grass. And sometimes you can't do that with, like, I fish a glass rod for chatterbaits, and I know I cannot rip that chatterbait through grass with that rod. It's a perfect rod for open water, and it keeps them pinned. It's a perfect open water rod, but for grass, I need something different.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about that little Miami Outfitter rod. It's got the backbone to rip it out of grass, but it's got the nice timber or limber tip to where you can still feel it and still have that hookup ratio.
We do have a code for them. I don't.
Yes. Little Miami is.
I don't think I have it here. We have a 10% off code. I'm gonna have to put it back on, but it's I think it's protest 10.
Okay, yeah, and that's actually what that rod is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Brandon Palmer.
Yeah.
He's a real good friend of mine too, and he makes an awesome rod. And really, the price of them for the quality of that rod, you can't really touch it in any other. It's got high quality components, and I was blown away. He sent me 2 rods, and I was like, oh, a lot of people talk about their rods and they want to sell them, and he's like, just take these 2 and try them. And I've been blown away. I've always been a casting guy myself until I tried those. And
well, if you talk to Brandon anytime soon, tell him Carlisle's still waiting for his chatterbait rod.
I will. I'll text him right now for him.
He never. He's such a hard man to get a hold of. I can't. He never checks his messages for me for some reason.
So
I met Brandon. I met him in the parking lot at the Bassmasters at the Susquehanna last year when our buddy Mickey Forbes got 3rd place, and I was talking to Brandon. He noticed me from my YouTube channel, and we started talking.
Yeah, that's how I got a hold of him too. He sent me a message out of the blue. He's like, "Hey man, I watch your videos. I love all your stuff, and I like to see if we want to work together." And so it's been
awesome,
cool little process.
Nice.
Like you were saying earlier, having 2 different setups. I do throw the little jackhammer. Just came out with the baby jackhammer, and then the Mini Max. I do have a different setup for that. And talking about on the Susky during the summer, that water gets real low, and a real light 1/4 ounce baby jackhammer or Mini Max is probably the only real good chatterbait to throw in that shallow water. And I'll actually throw it on a 7'3" medium heavy fast. It's an Elite series from Cashin. The rod is super light. It's got a pretty decent backbone, but that tip is real nice. I actually use it for top waters when I'm not throwing. I got it rigged up with braid, and I'll run, if I'm running a jackhammer or like a baby jackhammer, I'll actually run a leader on it.
On your other rod, are you throwing straight fluoro, or are you doing braid leader? Okay.
15 to 17 pound Seaguard.
Straight fluoro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll a little money saving tip for everybody out there. I'll actually spool up half the reel with just the cheapest monofilament I can find, and then spool up the rest with the Tatsu. That Tatsu gets expensive, so trying to save as much money as you can.
Now, are you using like an 8-to-1 reel?
I actually use, it's a 7-to-1, but if I have to buy another reel, I'll actually get like a 6-to-5. I find it a lot easier to reel faster than slower. And it's a lot harder for me to just slow down. And when you do slow down with a chatterbait, you usually get bit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that kind of, I've said this in my own videos, it's kind of a vicious cycle. You'll sit there and you'll start out fishing all morning. You'll sit there just reeling in. And then like by mid-morning, you haven't got a bite. You're just kind of sitting there and you're just going real slow. Bam. You catch one, get it in the boat, throw it back out. And what do? Go back to throwing it fast.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you slow back down, bam. And so to me, a slower gear ratio forces myself to slow it down a little bit. I can still kind of reel medium and it'll be slower. That's just my preference.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's different. Like you catch a fish, you get excited.
Yeah.
You cast right back in there and then you're reeling twice as fast as you were because you're just from the adrenaline.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta find what works for you. Everybody's different.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny. It's, you start out in the morning, you're pumped up to be there. Fish are blowing up, and then it's just it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I don't throw enough. I feel like nowadays there's so many baits that I want to catch these smallmouth on, and I just overlook the chatterbait all the time. I want to catch them on other things.
Yeah. Now, one reason why I love the chatterbait so much, and it's partially to do where I live, Tennessee River system is an hour from my house, and that's what made the jackhammer famous. There's so many people winning checks on it. And the nice thing about a chatterbait, nowadays, there's so many people making chatterbaits, and the jackhammer, everybody's throwing a jackhammer. So if you're throwing something else, you can go right behind somebody and catch fish.
That was definitely going to be one of my questions. There are now a lot of different ones on the market, and like I actually switched once the Evo came out. I switched to the Evo because it was cheaper, and I actually do just as well with it on the as the jackhammer, and it's like $5 cheaper at least. So I kind of made that switch and haven't looked back.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the only bad thing about a jackhammer, a Z-Man, is it's $15, $15, $16, depending on where you're at. And the Evo, that's what this is right here. It's a really good, high quality. The hook, I actually like the hook keeper, the bait keeper on an Evo more than the jackhammer.
Yep.
It's hard to get one off.
I agree.
Yeah. I had some issues with the blade breaking off of my Evos. I don't know if anybody's ever had that issue. Maybe it was just I had a bad one. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with the Evos.
I haven't either. I've thrown a bunch of other ones too. Like I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, like the slobber knockers, the one of the big ones.
Thunder chicken or thunder cricket.
Thunder cricket. Yep.
They make tungsten now, don't they?
Yeah, the Evo comes in tungsten too. Yeah,
that's the thunder cricket right there.
Okay.
And then Z-Man just came out with the Evo tungsten.
Yeah,
they came out with the Evo tungsten and then the baby jackhammer.
Yeah.
And I've never thrown the baby jack. I've thrown the mini max. Have you thrown the baby jack yet?
I've thrown it one time, just for a little while. I just got them 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
They just released them, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a month.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't long.
I searched.
Can you tell a difference?
Yeah, they're. I don't know if I can really show it to you through the video, but the hook is a little bit smaller. And then was it the? Let's see if I got another.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to pick any of them up yet, but I have thrown the mini max a bunch of times.
So I'm just going to open this one up. So there's the baby max.
Okay.
And then here. So then here's the regular jackhammer. As you can see, the hook It is a little bit.
Oh, it is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the put that up? Do you have a mini max sitting there?
I
I just
used
want to
to.
see like what the blade difference is. Is it the same size blade as the mini
I do
max?
not have a mini max.
No.
I must have lost him.
I was
It
just
is
curious to
the
see
blade.
like the different size.
The blade of a mini max and the baby is about the same.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
just off the memory of using a baby max or a baby, whatever it's called. Too many
There's-
baby
no
names.
baby Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, baby Jack, mini max.
Yeah. Cool.
But that little smaller profile I could see it working really good. Definitely for smallmouth. Smallmouth.
Oh, yeah.
They like the little bait fish, and
Yep.
it
Now,
could be
as
killer.
far as trailers go, with that new Baby Mac, what is it called? Baby Max?
Yeah.
It's called it's called the baby Jack.
The Baby Jack.
Baby Jack.
Baby
That's
Jack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would think like a Zaco, or like a smaller Zaco would be a good trailer for the back of that.
So my preference, and it's a sponsor of mine, Torrent Outdoors. They're a local company here to Tennessee. We just came out with it's technically a bait for live scope, like what's that, strolling technique.
Yeah.
But
Minstrel.
the nice thing, and what I love about Torrent the most is every bait he designs is multi-purpose. You can use it for a lot of different, and it's called the Stone Roller. And here it is right here.
Okay.
We came out at first with a 6.4 and a 5.4. There's the bigger one.
Okay.
That's the old money color. And then we just came out with a 4.4. And
I
we'll
like
rig it
that
up
tail
right
on
here.
that one.
Yes, the tail. I wish I had a video of the action behind it. It is absolutely amazing. It rolls so good behind just a jig head. So you rig it up like that. And there you go. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
just see just from him holding it up how much action that tail has
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, and it's got a little bitty, the tail around here.
Split.
A split tail. You can, like this one. This color is the chartreuse and white. You put a little dip and dye on that.
Oh yeah.
Killer. I actually caught at Lake Fork, which was actually that's the regular jackhammer. Around here, put a little dip and dye. I caught a 7-pounder at Lake Fork on that bait right there.
Now, what's the name of that company that makes that?
It's Torrent Outdoors,
Torrent.
and they have a bunch of different baits. They got this Thresher 4.2. Before we released the Stone Roller, this was my ChatterBait trailer. If you look, this little paddle tail got this little end around here.
Yeah.
Actually, if I'm using it as a ChatterBait trailer, and this is what I love about Torrent baits, it's multifunctional. I take it and I peel it off, and there you go, straight tail.
Huh.
This is really
wow.
good scrounger bait. Tennessee River system, a scrounger is awesome. You can probably get up there at Susquehanna and fish around those. Do you have any ledge fishing?
Oh yeah.
Just a bit. They're around. Yeah. I mean, you have to look for them, but no.
That bait on a scrounger would be just renowned. The cool thing about it, if everybody that's watching this video, if you're from around the Susquehanna, you get some of these baits. Those fish have not seen anything of Torrent Outdoors, probably.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for the Susquehanna. If you can find something them fish haven't seen and it looks good, you're gonna be catching them for sure.
I did throw the link to Torrent Outdoors in the chat, so if anybody's curious to go check those baits out, definitely.
If you want to save a little money, you can use Ethan_Jett_fishing for 10% off.
Nice.
Then they also have This is what I use on a chatterbait if I'm fishing like a black and blue. This is called the timber crawl. And the cool thing about this trailer, or it's really a crawl, so you can flip it around on a jig. That's one of my favorite jig trailers. But I'll throw it on a black and blue, just like that. Black and blue chatterbait. Has a real good kicking action. I'll throw it on they have a green pumpkin color. I'll throw it on a bluegill imitation as well. But the cool thing about this crawl is you have different actions. You break it up apart, and if you can see.
Oh yeah, there's a couple
so like in the wintertime when you're fishing on a jig, you don't want a lot of action. So you kind of want to keep that. Together. But if it's in the summer, you can pull it all the way off, and it's got a real good kicking action. And
now what size is that?
That is just one size. It's probably
4-inch.
Yeah, about 5 probably, because that's the 4.2 thresher, and it's just a hair bit bigger. Nice. So it's probably a little under 5 inches.
So you're not using that on the smaller chatterbait, right?
Yeah, I will.
You will?
If it's like a black and blue or a crawl imitation, like a red bug color chatterbait, but that's what I'll use right there. You can cut it down a little bit. So that's how
the head.
Yeah,
the head a little bit.
Yeah, just cut it down. Bite it off.
It tastes like what?
It's like, I mean, if I was a smallmouth, I'd eat it,
Yeah. Yeah, trailer wise, like I used to throw like a Kitech on the back of it, and then somebody told me about the Zaco, and I started throwing that on it. And then when they came out with the Chatter Spike, I started throwing that on it, and I really like the Chatter Spike. There's something about like not having that big paddle tail, flipping around. I remember like way back in the day watching a Tactical Bassin episode where they're like, you can flip the paddle tail upside down or cut off just the paddle of the paddle tail, and you end up with basically what is the Chatter Spike now. So I think having that, like you were showing with that white one, having just that really smaller but really a lot of action tail is better than like the kick of a paddle tail.
This is what Tactical Bassin uses all the time. It's the Hog Farmer Spunk Shad.
Okay.
I've used
it's a real big known bait.
Yeah, I've heard that name a lot, but I've never seen one. I never grabbed them. So
yeah, and it's being that I'm from Tennessee and the Tennessee River, it's a big scrounger bait. Fishing off the ledges in summertime, you get they got like some big, like 6-7 inch ones.
Okay,
you really catch some big ledge fish. But
nice.
But like you were saying, the biggest thing about a chatterbait trailer, a chatterbait, when you're fishing it, this big old blade right here, it is putting so much turbulence behind that bait. If you have a paddle tail back there, it'll just sit there and do something funky. But a straight tail, like the I don't know what like the stone roller, it'll sit back there and it'll just sit there and wiggle. Looks real good, and you won't. I don't just use Torn Outdoor stuff. I use the Strike King Rage Crawl. I like this bait when I'm fishing really, really shallow because I'll actually rig it up horizontal like this, and it'll actually kind of keep it
the bait up.
Yeah. And the Timber Crawl from Torn Outdoors will do the same as well. This one just will really do it. Definitely on a lighter, like the Baby Max. You put that on there, you'll almost kind of sit there and wake it back.
Yeah.
Like what you do with a spinnerbait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed. Go ahead.
No, that's one thing with a chatterbait is you want to use a straight tail just because of all that turbulence behind it. And that's the reason why that Tactical Bassin, if you take just a regular swim bait and rig it up backwards, it will do the same thing. It'll catch that wake.
Yeah. Yeah, not all trailers are created equal.
No.
I do
'Cause I
like what
noticed
you
that.
said about the rage crawl though, and keep allowing it to keep it a little higher. Because sometimes, like I'll fish a half ounce because I like the fact that I can get it down quick.
Yeah.
But then if it's real shallow, that was another point I wanted to make too. Is one of the beautiful things about the chatterbait is you can change your levels pretty easily. You know, if you find them on the bottom, you know, you can go to a heavier one and just get it down there. Or if they're not hitting on the bottom as much and you figure out they're hitting it more close to the top, you can change your trailers up and go lighter and ride higher in the water column, and it's really a universal bait in that respect.
Yeah.
That you can cover a lot of different parts of the water column with it.
Yeah. And since you all are more of a river susky fishing, one thing I love to do is take a 3/8 ounce and fish the current breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real heavy to where it just sinks past or like straight to the bottom, but it's also not light enough where it just kind of sits on top. So I'll go up to boulders and you see the current coming around, and I'll depending on if I'm coming to it or away, I'll either fish behind it first or in front of it. And once you catch one fish off that, you will know how they're setting most of the time, and you can go to each boulder,
Mm-hmm.
catch them. And then at least here at Duck River, it all depends on what water, the level, if they're in front of it, or if they're in front of it or down from it.
That's how it is on the Susky too. Especially with the islands, if the water's high and low, it depends on which situation you're in. They might be in the front of the islands or behind the islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's definitely good to check both.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Once you find them, then you know.
Yeah.
We're going to take a 30-second break, so we'll be right back, guys. All right. Welcome back to Chasing the 20 Inchers. We are talking to Ethan Jett about chatterbaits and trailers and his setup and all kinds of stuff like that. So if you like chatterbait fishing, tune in, stay tuned.
You're just chattering away.
Chatter.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I was curious. There are a bunch of other chatterbaits, like there's the stealth blade and the big blade. Have you thrown any of those? Like I threw the stealth blade a little bit. I didn't like it. Just I didn't have the same vibration that I get from the regular one. But
I have thrown the stealth blade, not a ton, but I've thrown it a pretty good bit. Have not caught a single thing on it. Now, Ewing Minor, I hate to give his little secret away. He talks about catching them a lot on the stealth blade, but at only certain lengths.
Okay. Okay.
Like East Tennessee. Really, the clear lakes are where he uses it. So really, the Susky, it should be pretty decent.
Yeah.
I didn't have a ton of luck with it. I think I caught a few with it, but I definitely, have done better. Now, that being said too, I've also thrown, the original chatterbait and some of those others, and and there is a difference between the jackhammer and those. I think the jackhammer pretty much starts the second you start whining, you get that thump right away. Whereas sometimes the original jackhammer, or I can't remember all the other the kind of the older versions, but they all sometimes you got to either pump it like you would a spinnerbait to get it kind of to thump a little bit. It just doesn't start as quick. And I kind of noticed that about the slobber knocker too, if I remember correctly, that it just takes a little bit more to get it started.
Yeah.
Whereas the jackhammer, and even I think the Evo is similar to the jackhammer in that respect, in that it, pretty much starts thumping as soon as you start whining without any kind of bump or anything like that to get it going.
Exactly. Yeah. I've the Evo and the jackhammer has a more, so that's how I do. I'll use a jackhammer. If I'm not getting bit on a jackhammer, I'll switch to the Evo because it's a little bit more subtle. it still has that. As soon as you throw it out and start reeling, you'll feel it hit, but it's just a little bit quieter. And then, in fishing, a lot of times, just that little bit of change, whether it's color, trailer, or the size of the bait, can make a huge difference. You wouldn't think a bass with a brain the size of a walnut, an acorn, would be so smart, but just those little bitty differences in actions can make a world of difference, in my opinion. Somebody might be saying that that's a load of crap, but at least in my experiences out on the water, that's how it is.
No, I definitely agree with that. There's been times where I'll paddle by or see multiple people throwing the same thing, and if I switch it up just a little bit, you can even go in behind people, like you said earlier, and catch fish, and it's because that tiny little difference. Like I always think of like the lion looking at the herd of zebras, and you have 99 zebras that are all running and look exactly the same, and then you have that one zebra that slightly might have like a little bit of hitch to its run or whatever, and that's the one they're going to cue in on because they that's a weakness or something that they're seeing. And sometimes I think that subtle difference between what everybody else is throwing is that kind of thing to them, exactly. Especially once they get conditioned to a bait like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me. Comment if it's about y'all too. There is nothing better than going behind a boat and catching fish when they're not catching them. And that little bitty bait change. If you see them throwing a white jackhammer, tie on a white Evo, you can sit there and just catch them. And it's just the best feeling. They're looking back at you.
Well, you were talking about, the subtle changes. A lot of that has to do with the pitch that bait's given off. Mm-hmm. I know fish don't have ears, but they do have lateral lines.
Yeah.
And just that little slight difference in pitch might trigger them to strike.
Yeah. And there is a lot of videos out there of comparisons of underwater and between the jackhammer and the like slobber knocker and stuff, and the noises are different. It might with your rod tip it might feel the same, that vibration, but underwater there is definitely a difference. So
and your line selection has a little bit to do with the vibration as well. If you're using a real thick line, it's not as pronounced. That line is weighing it down. It's the same as if you're using like a shad wrap, for example. The lighter the line, the thinner diameter, you can get that bait to move a lot more, and you get a little bit depth change. But with a chatterbait, line size doesn't really dictate depth change, but it will a lot of times dictate how well that action's coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound.
Yeah.
That's something I might have to change up, Sean. I've been throwing braid on my chatterbait for a long time.
I still throw braid too.
Really?
So I throw braid to leader. Well, braid to leader, but
okay.
I don't even I don't even use a leader. I just straight braid.
No, I throw a leader, but
now my question for you, Carlisle, is do you have issues with hookup ratio?
I don't, because I use a glass rod. Once I have them fish pinned, I mean, they're not coming off.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about a bad thing about braid. There's absolutely no stretch, and the sensitivity, you feel it a lot more. But also that means that when that fish gets right up behind it and starts taking it, you feel it right then before they have the hook.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you wait? Do you wait at all until you start feeling the line move off?
No. Once I feel them hit it, I'm pretty much sweeping, and by the time I get halfway back, that rod's loaded up.
Okay. Yeah.
And Carlisle and I are similar in that aspect. I throw mine on a St. Croix glass rod as well. Now, the thing I like about it is the St. Croix always feel stiffer than what their power says to me. Like mine is a medium heavy glass rod, but it is stiffer, so it has that backbone, but the tip is that glass tip that And same thing when if I'm reeling along, if I feel that blade stop vibrating,
Yeah,
that's I
when,
just sweep into it, and then usually they're there.
yeah.
So I don't have a lot of problems pulling away from it either, but I also use a bleeder too. So
Okay.
That's the thing with glass rods. You know, once you when you're reeling that chatterbait, you can that rod's bouncing in your hands. You know, from the thumping. Once you feel that stop, that thump, that the rod
Yeah.
stop thumping, that's when you're swinging. That's when you're swinging into it.
Yeah. Okay. See, I usually with the rods that I have, previously I was using a 7'5" I-Rod Genesis 2. It was the Snyder snipe, the one that Russ Snyder designed.
mm-hmm.
And, it was just a regular composite like the little Miami, but you would feel the bite, and I'd always just wait till I felt the weight, and then I'd swing on.
Okay.
And I would just do like not like a swing, and it just whoever, it's your preference, but I feel like I get a better hookup ratio when I go over my shoulder like that.
Yeah.
And it looks cooler for the camera too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Swing for the fences.
Yeah.
I haven't lost many fish on my glass rod. Once I got them, once I swing into them, they're not coming off unless they're swimming straight at me or something like that.
Yeah. And there's not much you can do on that. You just gotta keep reeling and pray.
Yeah.
I actually found out that I liked the glass rod by accident because I was looking for a different crankbait rod, and I bought the St. Croix glass rod as a crankbait rod, but I didn't like it because of how stiff it was. And so then I had it laying around one day, and I had some crankbait tied on my other crankbait rod, and I wanted to throw a jackhammer. I used to throw the jackhammer on my crankbait rod, and then I was like, well, I want to have the crankbait tied on too. So I have that St. Croix that I don't really like throwing crankbaits on, so I tied it onto that, and that was the bite that day, and I didn't lose any of the fish, and I caught some really big fish, and I was like, oh man, this is a thing, and now that is my go-to chatterbait rod. So
yeah, I wonder how many people do that. Like I do that all the time. I have probably 20 rods, and I'm always switching things around and trying to see what works better with what, and I mean, nowadays they have names on them all for what they're for, but sometimes you find that little needle in the haystack where you're like, oh, this rod works really good for like for instance, last year I was throwing a wake bait on a rod that was meant for jigging and worming, and I didn't lose any fish on it, and that's going to be my wake bait rod from now on.
Yeah.
It's a little stiff, but I mean,
I was going to say, I remember I was shocked when you told me that. I was like, really? You're throwing that on that rod?
Yeah, it's
you can't lie with the results.
It has a camouflage grip on it. I can't remember the name of the rod company.
Oh, is
it a combat stick?
Evergreen?
Yes. It's the Evergreen worm and jig rod. I throw a wake bait on that.
Okay. Wow.
And it works. It works for me. It might not work for everybody, but it works for me.
So one of the common themes on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of tutorials on certain baits. I'll do a top 3 bait every month, and I'd say it all the time. Even if a rod works for me, it's ultimately down to whoever's fishing preference. Like I might, for my jigs, I like a 7'2" medium heavy fast or a heavy, but somebody else might want a 7 foot because they like skipping it up under docks or something. And it's just your preference, really.
Yeah.
Although I was curious, like I know like Evergreen makes a chatterbait rod, and like they're part owners of the jackhammer, so I'm like, well, that's got to be half decent, you'd think, but I never tried it, so I can't say for sure.
I think they just came out with a new one last year for the chatterbait.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They make really nice rods. I like them.
I've never thrown one, but I've seen them, and they do look really good.
That's what I use. That's what I have jerkbait. My jerkbait rod's Evergreen, and I love that thing.
And I bought one last year based on Carlisle's thing. I'm still learning jerkbaits though, but yeah.
I avoid the jerkbait like the plague.
Carlisle's trying to convert me.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I can sit there and fish a spook and a glide bait. But if I'll start throwing a jerk bait, I don't know what it is, but I just can't get the
cadence.
Yeah, like it's like pause, jerk, pause, and I'll do that for like 5 casts. If I don't have a bite, I'm just putting it up. I don't.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, I was like not really into jerkbait fishing until I bought the right rod.
Okay.
When I bought the right rod, I was like, then I've really learned how to use it. It's a good thing to have in your arsenal.
That might be my problem then, because I'll just take a multi-purpose rod.
Yeah,
and try to throw one.
Yeah, you need that. You need a rod that you can like. You got that whip.
Okay. Yeah.
And I thought that too. And I bought the rod that Carlisle's using, and it hasn't translated to me yet. But then like I go back to like Jeff Little. I know he throws his jerk baits on a spinning rod. Now I don't know what the action is, but yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm in the same boat as you, Ethan. I don't know if my cadence is off or what, but I'm working on it. Every time I see Carlisle throwing it, I'll throw it for a while. So I have caught a few more fish on it this year than I have last year.
So going back to the most controversial topic in the world, the fishing rod, that's the reason why I don't like a jerk bait, because I'll just feel like I'm throwing it and just casting in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
With the live scope, you can actually tailor make your cadence per fish. You can sit there and you watch them and see how they act.
Yeah.
If they're coming up to it, you can sit there and jerk kind of a couple of jerks and they'll hit it. So I just feel like nowadays, if you're not using live scope with a jerk bait, you're just, if you're not scoping, you're hoping.
Yeah. Well, on the river here, it's a little hard to use live scope because it's so shallow in a lot of areas, but a lot of times I'm just throwing blind out in the river.
Okay.
And I've seen him do it. I have tried to mimic him, but I'm not doing something right. But it'll come.
Yeah, you'll get it.
I feel like I'm improving slowly on that. Just a slow learner, I guess. But
what you probably need to do is just take that rod.
Yes.
And just fish it all day. That's how I got confidence in a glide bait. Because I took that glide bait out one whole day and just used it.
That's what I do when I want to learn a new technique. I'm just like, that's what I'm taking. If I don't get bit, at least I'm learning the technique.
Yeah.
Learning something about it. So yeah, guys, the people that have joined since we started, we do have a giveaway at the end of the show. All you have to do is type your name in the comments and we'll do a little drawing at the end of the show. So back to the ChatterBait. Is that what you were throwing on the Susky for the Hobie tournament when you came up here?
I was throwing a mixture of ChatterBait and a little DT4, but mainly a ChatterBait a lot. Anywhere we could, because the water was so low. I was throwing a lot of what's the
like a top water?
Chapo. Yeah. Chapo.
Yeah.
What's that bait called?
Whopper plopper?
Whopper plopper. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very famous bait on the Susquehanna River.
Yeah. And leading up, I've done a few podcasts about my pre-fishing methods, and leading up to a tournament, I do a lot of map studying and I'll watch a lot of videos. And that's one reason why I started throwing the Whopper plopper, because I've seen a bunch. But I was mainly throwing a ChatterBait as well in the deeper areas that we found.
Did you have a lot of success with the ChatterBait that day, or?
Yeah. I didn't do real well in that event, mainly because it was my first time ever being there. And it is kind of hard we picked one section. I can't remember what it was called. You probably know, Sean. It has that bridge.
Yeah, Marysville. We were at Marysville.
Yeah. Okay. So I picked that section when we floated for probably close to 8 miles, maybe, on pre-fishing. And then we caught some. We never caught any of good size, but that tournament was very rough on a lot of people.
Yes.
On a lot of people that knew the river as well.
I felt bad because, these guys came and I was building them up the whole time. Like, oh man, you guys are going to crush it. It's going to be amazing. And then, pre-fishing, they did okay. I know Stuart got pretty wet at one point, but
now was that the Hobie tournaments? Were those, that was back then? You couldn't use motors? It's just human power? Or?
Yeah, no motors.
Are you running a motor now on your kayak?
I am. I'm actually using an NK 180 Pro. Or no, sorry, 180, just the old classic 180. I will be probably upgrading here soon to the Pro just to have the controller being able to take off and on and not have to. That's real nice.
Yeah.
So the old one, is that with the yellow? It has the yellow propeller?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that little motor, I don't know how it does on the current at Susquehanna, but Duck River and all the places I fish, it does amazing for the size that it is. I get 4.5, 5 with my Hobie, and I'm not a big
pushing a PA. Yeah, that's pretty good.
You fishing out of a PA 14?
Yes, sir. Yeah, PA 14 Ike 360.
I thought you had the red one. I was like, he has the red one. I know he does.
Yeah, when I was there with you, I think I still had my Dune one, the 180. Yeah.
I was talking about. Oh, go ahead.
The actually tomorrow is the semifinals, but I'm part of the Kayak Angling Magazine Yak Off Awards.
I saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why they named it that.
Yeah,
just
to
give you a heads up. But what is it? If you want, jump on their website tomorrow, and you can actually watch a full walkthrough of my whole setup. And if you want, I'd
give him a vote.
Give me a vote. So
let's get Ethan up there. Vote for him.
I'm against Jake Subak. He's in a Vibe Shearwater, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who all did you knock out so far?
Well, I've knocked out what was his name? Steven Johnson. He was a local Tennessee guy. And then I knocked out Austin Hoover.
Okay.
Which is Chad Hoover's son, which I was not thinking I could because of the KBF fan base.
Right.
But even Chad Hoover got put out by Jake Subak, who I'm going up against. So I need everybody's vote.
I just seen a video. I think it was on TikTok or something like that, where he was standing on his XTR on the front of it, and he had it on spot lock, and that thing took off to the right, and he fell off of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, if you're standing up and you hit that spot lock, I used to have spot lock on my old Hobie. And if you're not sitting down, definitely if the wind's blowing and you're moving and you got a forward momentum, and you hit that spot line, he'll throw you out.
Yeah.
Partially because that motor, it's 35 horsepower or 35 pounds, and it's really designed for a boat. So it's trying to keep a boat stationary. So it's when you hit that spot lock, it's using a lot more throttle than it needs to for a kayak. So he'll knock you out.
Yeah, I have an XI3 on my Power 129.
Okay.
But I don't have spot lock. I have just a standard version. I was thinking about upgrading it to spot lock because I have a power pole, and for the Susky, a power pole and some spot lock would do me really good, I think.
Now, how is the XI3 on the Susky? I could see that being a kind of a rough.
I've been doing it for 5 years now, and
there's definitely spots where it's probably tough,
it's a little challenging because you gotta always be aware of what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You can't just throttle down and go. But I've been making it work, and I've been talking to Sean about maybe getting a Torpedo or a Newport, just for a riverboat. And I was actually talking to my wife today about getting her a Hobie PA12 or a 14, and then that could be like my backup for some of the tournaments that I fish that you can't use motors.
Yeah. That I'll say it a lot in my videos. The Mirage drive is just worlds out.
Mm-hmm.
being able to get up shallow and flutter kick,
Yeah.
still be able to move.
Yeah.
I don't know, like down here at Gunnersville, we fish a lot of grass, and it's really choked out, and that fin drive will just slip right through the grass. I'll see people in old towns or with the traditional bicycle. They'll be sitting there, got it out, trying to rip grass out of it.
Yeah.
And I'll just go right by them, just sitting there cruising.
There's definitely spots on the Susky with my Outback Mirage drive where pedaling through some of the grass is like pedaling through concrete, but
Yeah.
you still make it through, and you don't have to clean it off as much as I think the folks with the propeller drives too. So
Yeah. Good deal. Did you have anything else for Ethan, Sean?
no, I was going to ask him if you had. I know obviously you're still on your YouTube channel. You want to highlight that at all?
Yeah. It's Jett's Fishing Adventures. We just hit 1,000 subscribers Friday. I'm really thankful for that. If you haven't watched any of my videos, go and check it out. I do a lot of like informational videos, but then I do a lot of tournament videos as well. We just got back from Lake Fork in March. There's 2 pre-fishing and a regular. The tournament video is up on the channel with a 7-pound bass catch in it.
Nice.
You might want to go and watch that. And then before I leave, I like to thank some of my sponsors: Dugout Bait and Tackle, Hobie, Seaguard, Torn Outdoors, Backdraft Lures, and Bad Boy Jigs. So,
Nice.
you know,
So I went
on the water innovation.
Okay.
You know.
Is that trailers?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
They make trailers?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
another
if you got
thing
a
I'd like to
Hobie,
get at one.
you got a Hobie and rig it up like I do,
Mhm.
it's a pain in the butt to put
Yeah.
in the back of your truck.
Yeah,
So,
it's got to be nice to, well, not just that, it's got to be nice to just back it in, and then
you know,
are you one of them people that drive it right up on the trailer too when you get out of the water?
nah, the how I have my on the water, it's a custom built with the little rack above it.
Okay.
So I can't really, the seat, depending on the water level of a lake
Yeah.
or the angle of the ramp, I gotta pull my seat down to get it on. So I can't really do it. I've done it once, and it was kind of a I won't cuss or nothing, but it was kind of a show, if you know what I mean.
That you have a crank that you like just crank it onto the
No.
trailer then?
I actually have a custom kayak strap that I designed that I need to figure out how to sell it, because everybody asked me about it. And with your XI3, you would love it because it's a little detached. You have a little piece off the front, it clicks in, and then it clicks to the trailer. One of my good friends, Christine Fisher, everybody knows her. I've been fishing around her sometimes, and she'll dump her kayak off the trailer quite often. And that little strap right there prevents you from doing that.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of a dual purpose. You can move it out where you can push the kayak off, pull it up on the bank, and instead of having all that line, you can click it, and you only have that much hanging off the front where it won't get tangled up in your motor or whatever. And I need to figure out to start selling that, but that's how I use my pull-up rope.
I was just thinking today, I got to figure out a way, invent something that I can relieve myself on the water.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's a lot of people that just pee in their scupper holes or whatever, and pull it out and stand up and just piss right off their kayak. But a lot of times you're around other people and you don't want to be pulling your stuff out to do that. So if somebody could invent something like a tube that you could put in your scupper, and I'm always having that issue.
Oh, dude, I'll never forget. I used to just stand up and go. And I was at Lake Redmond one time, a little lake by us. And I thought I floated around the one corner into this little back bay. And, I was like, oh, I don't see anybody. So I just got up and I'm standing there. And then sure enough, there's 2 people sitting on a bench right there. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Yeah. Kind of like you ever watch Grown Ups?
Yep.
Kind of like just smile and wave.
So now I carry like a little travel urinal with me under my seat, and that is my go-to because I can do that sitting down, and then just dump it over the side. No mess, no fuss. So
I guess a
I
Gatorade
just
bottle.
stand up.
There you go.
Now, the nice thing about the Hobie is that you got that big center hole there. You can just take it out.
Yeah. But what if you're like in a little area where you're fishing boat docks and there's people everywhere and you got to take a leak? You just stand up and let it rip.
Well, the nice thing is I'm only 27, so I can still hold it in pretty decent.
Yeah.
How the conversation has changed from ChatterBait.
Mike came in at just the right time. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. So if you're just joining in, welcome to the podcast talking about how to
pee off your kayak. Yeah. So in about 5 minutes, we're going to do the giveaway, guys. So all you have to do for the giveaway is type your name in the comments. I see we have about 3 people so far. So
I have 6 on my list. So
you got 6 people. We got 6 people so far. So anybody that missed it, just go in the comments, type your name in there. Ethan, if you want to get into it, put your name in that comment there. We'll send you the little package if you win.
I was fixing to do it without you saying, just to get the. Now I won't, since you done told me.
Yeah. Oh, and I do want to say we did hit from the last podcast. We did hit 500 subscribers, so thanks everybody for that. Now our next goal is 1,000. We want to get to 1,000, and we want to keep this train rolling. Also, if you want any apparel, I got a bunch of stuff on my YouTube channel. There's a link on there. I got hats, shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, and neck gaiters. All that have Chasing the 20 on them. And we have 10% off until May 4th, I think it is. And the shipping is within 10 days. So when you order, you get it within 10 days. I know Mike Reinhold ordered 2 T-shirts, and they should be there tomorrow. So check that out.
Good deal.
I tell you, people don't realize how hard it is to grow a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I've been kind of surprised how quickly we've gotten the numbers we've gotten, really, for just kind of starting out. It's kind of impressive. So, that goes out to all the listeners and everyone, viewing. We appreciate you guys so much because, this channel has grown so quickly, and it's all thanks to everyone tuning in. So we truly appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Appreciate everyone. Our last podcast is right near 1,000 views just on our channel. So, not that everybody watches live, but they do watch after the fact. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So to go back to the YouTube real quick, Ethan, how long have you had a channel, and how long has it taken you to get to 1,000 subscribers?
So January 25th was my 2-year anniversary. So I've been doing it for 2 years and 2 months or 3 months.
That's not bad. I mean, it's a lot of hard work because I know I'm editing videos all the time, just about every week in the summertime. So
yeah, and the little funny quirk about mine is I edit all my videos on my phone.
Wow.
And I've actually done a podcast with Marty Hughes about it, on how I use the Luma Fusion app. Okay. And it's a full-on editing software on your phone. It's a really cool system, but people get blown away by how well my videos watch, and I'll just use my phone to editing. And I post every week, and actually I just now started posting twice a week, trying to get that watch hours up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I didn't upload last week, which that was on me. It's turkey season here in Tennessee.
I hear you.
It's hard to get out of those woods when they're gobbling. So I wasn't able to upload one last week, but we're actually gonna do a giveaway on my channel for hitting 1,000. The details should be out tomorrow. We got a bunch of my sponsors have stepped up big time and donated a bunch of stuff. One of those sponsors for the Yak Off actually donated. Have you ever heard of the de-hooker tool?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I just seen a commercial on that today.
Yeah, I got one of those to give away. They sent me one and sent me another one to give away. It's a tool that you hope to never have to use.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have if you do need it. So that's going to be cool to give away. But it takes a lot of time. Definitely doing 2 videos a week, just editing, and it takes a lot of content. It's amazing. People don't realize to get a 20-ish, 15-ish minute video, you got to go out there and fish 8+ hours. That's just to get one video, and that's if you catch them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've had videos out on Chickamauga, the Tennessee Bass Nation. I fish it a lot, and I went Chickamauga, didn't catch a daggum thing, and I didn't really want to post a video because nobody wants to just sit there and watch me cast.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get content, to be able to get a backlog of content.
Yeah, you definitely got to catch them because not many people want to watch fishing show with casting.
No, and I'm a big supporter of Greg Blanchard. I love watching his videos, and he's about the only person. I think once you get a following, then you can post videos like he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But building that following, nobody just wants, like, because you got, in my opinion, you got one video for them to watch you, and they will decide if they want to subscribe or not. So it's kind of, you got that. If you want to have new subscribers, you need to catch them all the time. And we got a ghost that just opened the door back there.
So, are you going to be coming up here at all this year for any of the tournaments on the Susquehanna?
Is there any, is Bassmaster coming up there in October or something?
Not Bassmaster, but there is No Limit Power Hour. There's the
Kayak Adventure Series.
Oh, okay. I might go up there for that. I've been wanting to fish one of his. Drew Gregory.
Drew Gregory's,
yeah. He's.
And then also Gene Jensen's team one is. I think they're having an event up here too. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. I should have fished the Gunnersville team one, but I had other obligations. If I would have definitely fished the Susky too. I do plan on coming up there sometime in the near future.
Well, I have a bedroom now that you don't have to sleep in the basement. So
Yeah.
That's nice.
Hit us up if you come up. We'll show you some spots.
Yeah, I love to. We can do a little collab.
There you go.
Absolutely. You just got another subscriber, so I just subscribed to your channel.
Well, thank you.
All right, Ethan. Well, we appreciate you coming on. It was a fun podcast. I hope some people learned some stuff about the ChatterBait and the different things you can do with it, with the trailers and whatnot. We wish you the best of luck this year with all your tournaments, Ethan, and we hope you come up here and we can hang out and do some fishing.
Yeah. Keep in touch, man.
I will. I need some more of that pie that y'all have. Can't remember what it's called.
Shoe fly pie.
Shoe fly pie. It was good.
All right, Ethan. If you just want to hang out in the back in the green room until we do this giveaway, then we'll close it out. We'll get back to you. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Whoop. Carlisle, did you remove yourself?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Your screen is saying webcam utility though for your camera.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Let me turn it off. And
while you're doing that, I'm going to run over just the people I have on my list for the giveaway. So I have 9 people right now. I have BC Fishing, number 1. My buddy Armando Salah, number 2. Number 3, Roy Widgeon. Number 4, Lawrence Taylor. Number 5, Jay Duke. Number 6, Scotty Hepner. Number 7, Mike Reinhold. 8 is our buddy Ethan. And then 9 was Rob, that guy who just commented the last. Rob, I appreciate your comment on the podcast too. So right now we're looking at 9 people. If any of the looks like we have 12 people listening. If you're listening and want in on this giveaway, just drop your name in the chat real quick. We'll give you like a minute to do that, and then we'll bring up the wheel, spin the reel, and see who gets the giveaway. For those people who are interested, the giveaway is a Railblazer rod holder and star cleat, or the star port that lets you attach it to a rail, and then and then also a cleat, I think, was the other Railblazer attachment that we have. So we're going to give that away here in just maybe 30 seconds or so.
Can you still hear me, Sean?
I can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Something happened with my connection with my camera.
Okay. Well, no worries. We can hear you, and oh, there you go. Now you're back.
I just had to change a battery.
Gotcha.
Oh.
So,
all right. We got everybody loaded up.
Yeah, let me bring up the screen here. Add to stage. I think I have 9 on here. Let me hop back over and bring that up on my screen.
You got Ethan on there?
Yep. I think I have 9 total, and Ethan's one of those 9. So we'll go ahead and give this a spin here. Let me find out where you spin it. I got to get these ads off here. Go away, ads.
Yeah.
All right.
If anybody has a better way to do this, let us know, because we're kind of generic with this stuff.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit the spin, and we'll see what it picks.
Oh.
This is going to be 2.
Number 2.
So that's Armando Salah. So Armando, if you're still listening, bud, let me know how we can get that for you, and we'll get that done. I can reach out to Armando too if he's not still on here. But
yeah, just give me his address once you get a hold of him or whatnot, and then I'll get this sent out.
Sweet.
All right. Just want to thank everybody that stuck around and listened to the show. We appreciate you, man. Especially the last episode. Almost 1,000 views on the last episode with Joe Raymond. So that was awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, we can't thank you guys enough for helping our channel grow, for all the support that you're doing, for supporting our sponsors. I know the folks at Railblazer are super happy with everything that that we've done for them, and they continue to support us. So we're super happy for that, and just appreciative of all the support, guys. I can't thank you guys enough.
Yep. Thank you. Go ahead and close it out, Sean.
We will be back in another 2 weeks with another great guest. But until then, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you later. Get out on the water, catch some smallies on the Susky if you're out there, but just be safe and enjoy it, guys. All right. We will talk to you later.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, for future shows, like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our individual channels and accounts too. Want to be a guest on one of our shows and talk of adventures, gear, or products? Contact us. Thank you for watching The Noob Show with Matt Gibson, Chasing the Tide with Dustin Nichols, The Rusty Hook with John Rapp, The River Run with Adam Fraser Pross, May Contain Fishing with Daniel Woodcock, Chasing the 20s with Carlisle Esterly and Sean Lavery, Friday Night Bites with Brian Schiller. Thanks for tuning into the Paddle and Fin Network. Subscribe and always wear your PFD.